Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a truly, iconic American narrative, one that's really shaped generations of readers.
For sure.
We're pulling from excerpts of Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, getting into a pivotal period in the life of a young girl in, well, the fictional but incredibly real town of Macomb, Alabama.
Mm.
Our mission for you, our listener, isn't just to, recap the story. It's more to really explore the profound insights woven into it.
Yeah, the deeper stuff.
Exactly, like how childhood innocence meets these harsh realities,
Mm.
the deep-seated prejudices of a small town.
And then a quiet courage that challenges them. That's key.
Right, so we're going to look at family dynamics, social structures, those moments of real insight, all through the eyes of a child, which is, well, kind of deceptive in its simplicity.
Yeah, and what's so powerful about this story, I think, is how it uses that childlike perspective as a lens. It lets Lee sort of strip away all the complex justifications adults build around their prejudices. Reveals the raw injustice underneath, makes these huge universal issues feel intensely personal, immediate.
Yeah, definitely.
We watch the world transform from this, like, playground of imagination to a place of stark, often really painful truths.
Absolutely. And that transformation, it really begins in Macomb. The town itself feels almost like its own character.
Oh, completely.
We start with the Finches, Jem, who's Scout's older brother Scout, being our young narrator. And we learn pretty early on he has a badly broken arm.
Yeah, that little detail right at the start.
It instantly tells you something big is coming. Right?
Yeah.
And then there's Scout herself, John Louise Finch, and their steadfast father, Atticus, the lawyer. Yeah. He really anchors their world.
And Macomb itself is painted with such, like, vivid detail, this slow-paced, kind of self-sufficient town still wrestling with the effects of the Great Depression. The book describes it as a place where people moved slowly then, and echoing Roosevelt, had nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yeah. And the Finch family, we find out, has these deep roots there at Finch's Landing, this old cotton homestead that speaks to a long-established history.
Right, part of the town's fabric.
But what's really interesting, I think, is how Atticus and his brother, John Hale, they actually broke from that family tradition.
That's a great point.
Atticus left for Montgomery to study law. John went off to Boston for medicine, while their sister, Alexandra, she stayed right there at the Landing.
It's subtle, but it's a powerful signal of independence, a departure from that inherited way of life.
Yeah, definitely.
And it hints at a certain maybe intellectual and moral independence that runs in the family, foreshadows Atticus's later willingness to defy Macomb's, ingrained conventions. It's not just a deviation, it's kind of a foundation for the choices he's going to make.
That makes sense. And that thirst for something beyond the familiar, it definitely arrives with Dill.
Oh, Dill. Charles Baker Harris.
Yeah, this small but surprisingly old kid from Meridian, Mississippi, spends his summers with his aunt, Miss Rachel Haverford. He's like a little spark plug.
He is. Dill's arrival is the perfect catalyst for that childhood curiosity. He immediately gets the kids fascinated with the Radley place.
A mysterious house.
Yeah, just 3 doors south of the Finches. And it's not just a gloomy house. It's described as this, like, once white structure, now dark, foreboding.
Overgrown yard, those untouched pecan trees.
Exactly. The nuts are like this symbol of total isolation.
And the rumors surrounding it, they're chilling. They basically form the town's mythology about the place.
Totally.
We hear about Arthur Boo Radley, his supposed nocturnal activities, how any stealthy small crimes just get pinned on him, frozen azaleas, must be Boo.
Right, no question. And of course, that terrifying story about him driving scissors into his father's leg, it paints him as a total boogeyman.
It really does.
And this raises a really important question, I think, about how communities construct their own realities, how they perpetuate fear.
Yeah.
Like Boo's confinement. It wasn't formal institutionalization. Old Mr. Radley refused to send him to an asylum, saying he was just high-strung, not crazy.
Right, the distinction.
And the sheriff, maybe showing some kind of twisted mercy or maybe just not wanting to deal with it, wouldn't jail him with black people. So Boo was basically a prisoner in his own home.
Built by whispers.
Exactly. Built by the community's whispers.
When you really think about it that way, it's heartbreaking. And for the kids, this mystery, it ramps up fast into these elaborate games.
The Boo Radley game.
Yeah, especially making Boo Radley come out and reenacting the whole Radley family history. Atticus, in his very dry, understated way, he disapproves. Tells them they're putting his life's history on display.
That line really sticks with you, doesn't it?
It does.
It's more than just like a parent telling them off. It's Atticus gently introducing this idea of empathy, invasion of privacy, foreshadowing the deeper issues of judgment and exploitation later on.
He's trying to get them to see Boo as a person.
Not a plaything, exactly.
And speaking of mysteries, the knothole. In the oak tree near the Radley place, it starts giving up these strange gifts.
Yeah, that's such a great part.
First, chewing gum, then Indian head, Penny's good luck charms, right? Followed by these incredibly specific things, like soap dolls that look like Gem and Scout.
Incredible detail. And a tarnished spelling medal, a broken pocket watch with an aluminum knife.
It's fascinating to watch Gem's reaction change.
Right.
At first, he's cautious, especially about the gum, worried it's poisoned or something.
Understandable, given the rumors.
But as the gifts get more personal, his fear kind of gives way to this growing belief that these things are important to somebody, that they have real strong magic.
Lee uses these small, tangible objects so cleverly to build suspense, sure, but more importantly, to humanize Boo Radley before we even see him.
Yeah, he's shifting our view.
It's a masterclass in shifting perception from like monstrous rumors to this quiet benevolence.
It's like a secret conversation they're having.
So-
And then, boom, it's cut off. Mr. Nathan Radley cements the knothole shut.
Just like that.
Gem's quiet sadness there.
Hmm.
It really stands out. He seems to understand the loss much more deeply than Scout does at first. Why do you think it hits him so hard?
Well, I think that moment marks a subtle but really significant shift for Gem. It's not just losing the treasures, right? It's the abrupt interruption of this connection he was forming, this like nascent empathy for this reclusive figure.
Oh, okay.
For Gem, it's maybe the first real collision of the sort of arbitrary, sometimes cruel decisions of the adult world with the innocent wonder of childhood. And he feels the finality of that door closing.
That makes sense. Which kind of leads us into Scout's challenging introduction to the adult world of rules and expectations. Her first day at school.
Oh boy, Miss Caroline Fisher.
Yeah, the new young teacher. Seems totally unprepared for Makeham's unique ways.
And Scout's literacy becomes this weird point of conflict, highlights the clash between formal education and just learning organically.
Right. She never deliberately learned to read. She just absorbed it from Atticus reading every night.
Yeah. And Miss Caroline tries to impose this rigid, new way of teaching, the Dewey Decimal System, she calls it. Hilariously misapplied.
And it actively discourages home reading, which, ironically, leads to Scout getting smacked with a ruler and stood in the corner.
Her first whipping.
It's an early lesson that, conventional rules don't always line up with actual understanding.
Not at all. And that classroom scene, it's really like a microcosm of Makeham's whole social structure, isn't it?
Totally. You see it immediately with the Cunninghams. Introduced through Walter, Scout's classmate, who shows up with no lunch money.
The Cunninghams represent what you might call the honorable poor.
Right.
They pay for services not with money, because they don't have it, but with goods. Stovewood, hickory nuts, turnip greens for Atticus's legal work.
They have this fierce dignity through self-sufficiency. They never take what they can't repay. It's a very specific code.
Deeply tied to their identity. And Calpurnia, their cook and sort of surrogate mother,
Oh, cow.
she gives Scout that firm, unforgettable lesson about Walter, about treating all guests with respect. Anybody sets foot in this house is your company.
That line is powerful. It resonates way beyond just the dinner table, a real moral instruction.
And what's so insightful is the immediate contrast we get with the Yules.
Oh, the Yules, yeah.
Burris Yule, another classmate, described as dirty, has cooties, and just this crude, contemptuous attitude.
And they famously only attend the first day of school each year.
Right, basically to appease the truant lady.
Right.
And they've lived on county welfare for 3 generations. It highlights this critical distinction in Macomb. It's not just rich and poor. There are different kinds of poor.
Defined by character, by adherence to communal values or lack thereof.
Exactly.
It's a stark illustration that morality isn't always tied to, economic status. You see
Yeah.
that so beautifully with little Chuck Little.
Yeah, little Chuck.
Despite his own poverty, he shows this innate gentlemanliness and courage when Burris gets aggressive with Miss Caroline. It's a small moment, but it says so much.
It does. About intrinsic character. Lee consistently shows that decency and courage can pop up in unexpected places. It challenges any simple idea that poverty equals moral failing.
Definitely. Moving into maybe more complex moral lessons, Mrs. Henry Lafayette DuBose.
Ooh, Mrs. DuBose.
Yeah. The old, ill, and just brutally verbally abusive neighbor. She constantly hurls insults, especially at Atticus, calling him a nigger lover. That slur deeply affects Jem.
Understandably. And his reaction, while maybe misguided, is visceral. He just destroys her camellia bushes.
Total rage. But Atticus, instead of just a lecture, gives Jem this really unusual punishment.
Yeah, he has to go read to her every day for a month.
And here's where it gets really interesting and honestly profoundly moving.
It is.
We find out later the shocking truth about Mrs. DuBose. She was a morphine addict, determined to die free from her addiction, enduring immense suffering to do it.
Atticus reveals this, and he emphasizes that true courage.
Right.
Well, his definition of it.
Courage is when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and you see it through no matter what.
It just completely reframes our understanding of her, doesn't it?
Totally. It transforms her from this, one-dimensional villain into a figure of profound moral strength. A living example of the courage Atticus talks about.
And her final gift to Jem, that perfect white camellia, a snow on the mountain, it symbolizes that unexpected grace. Beauty emerging from pain.
Wow. Yeah. Another central moral lesson comes straight from Atticus, too. He rarely gives direct orders, but he tells the kids never to shoot mockingbirds.
It's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Simple as that.
And Miss Maudie Atkinson, their wise neighbor, she explains why.
Right. Miss Maudie clarifies it beautifully. Mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. They don't do one thing but sing their hearts out for us.
Protecting the innocent, the harmless, the benevolent.
Yeah.
That becomes the heartbeat of the whole story.
Absolutely. The central theme.
And that theme really comes alive, oddly enough, in that rare Maycomb snowfall. It's 1885? They hadn't seen snow like that.
Right, so the kids are absolutely thrilled. They build the snowman.
The absolute morphodite.
Yeah. Comically making it look like their grumpy neighbor, Mr. Avery, by using mud. It's this moment of pure, innocent wonder.
But that wonder quickly shifts to crisis with the fire at Miss Maudie's house.
And what's striking is her reaction, her resilience.
Incredible. Despite losing almost everything, she's remarkably positive, almost gleeful.
She admits she hated that old cow barn of a house anyway, always wanted a smaller one. Sees the fire as an opportunity almost.
It really highlights her pragmatic optimism, her inner strength.
Totally. And in that moment of chaos, the whole neighborhood out watching the fire, there's that quiet, profound discovery for Scout.
Right. She realizes Boo Radley had silently put a blanket around her.
Just draped it over her shoulders while she was watching, cold, and she didn't even notice.
It's this subtle act of kindness that directly contradicts all those chilling rumors. Confirms that mockingbird principle already at play with Boo.
It's a beautiful moment. Shows appearances can be deceiving. True character often reveals itself quietly, unexpectedly, and it deepens the mystery, sets up our evolving understanding of Boo, prepares us for the climax, really.
Yeah. And this theme of hidden character and pervasive prejudice, it truly comes to a head with the trial.
The Tom Robinson case.
Atticus makes that courageous and deeply unpopular decision to defend him, a black man falsely accused of rape, despite huge community disapproval being called awful names.
A nigger lover. Yeah. Atticus's decision is rooted in this unwavering belief in providing a fair defense. He says he couldn't face his children otherwise.
It's not just about legal duty for him.
No, it's about his personal integrity, the moral lessons he wants to instill in Jem and Scout. He embodies that idea that true morality means standing up for what's right, no matter the personal cost.
And as this pressure builds, his sister, Aunt Alexandra, arrives.
Alexandra, to provide feminine influence.
Right, and she's totally preoccupied with gentle breeding, family background, believes the longer a family had been squatting on one patch of land, the finer it was.
Such a stark contrast to Atticus's view.
Totally. It sets up this direct philosophical clash. Atticus believes everybody's family is just as old as everybody else's, including black people, Englishmen, fundamentally challenging her rigid social hierarchy.
And her disdain for the Cunninghams calling Walter trash just highlights her class and racial biases.
And her friction with Calpurnia,
whom Atticus fiercely defends as a faithful member of this family. It showcases her adherence to traditional racial prejudices versus Atticus's focus on individual worth.
The tension just keeps building, and it culminates in that unforgettable scene at the jailhouse.
The lynch mob.
Atticus just sitting there calmly, reading outside the jail, protecting Tom Robinson from this mob led by Walter Cunningham Sr. It's incredibly tense, so dangerous.
And what's truly fascinating is Scout's role. Unintended, but crucial.
Yeah. By just innocently talking directly to Mr. Cunningham about his son, Walter, and his entailments, The
Yeah.
legal stuff Atticus helped him with. She reminds him of their shared humanity.
Pierces right through the mob mentality with simple, direct connection. It's the power of innocence.
Amazing. And beneath it all, there's that other quiet layer of protection. Mr. Underwood, the newspaper publisher.
Hidden above with a double-barreled shotgun, ready to step in.
It's a subtle but powerful reminder that not everyone is blind to injustice, even if their support is quiet, maybe unconventional.
It adds complexity, doesn't it? Shows that dissent and a sense of justice exist, even if just on the fringes of Macomb's apparent unity and prejudice.
Then the trial itself. The atmosphere outside is described as almost festive, disturbingly so. A gala occasion like a Roman carnival.
So unsettling. And inside, the segregation is stark. The kids end up in the colored balcony, offered seats by the black attendees.
And we meet Mr. Dolphus Raymond.
Ah, Dolphus Raymond, the white man who conspicuously sits with the black community. Everyone thinks he's a drunkard.
But he lets the kids in on his secret.
Right. He only drinks Coca-Cola from that paper bag. He pretends to be drunk.
Why?
To give people a reason for his unconventional life. He figures they could never understand that I live like I do because that's the way I want to live. So he gives them an easy explanation. Drunkenness.
Wow.
And he tells the kids because you're children and you can understand it. It's this profound commentary on society, expectations, the facades people build.
That is truly surprising.
Yes.
Highlights how people create these elaborate acts just to navigate judgment.
Exactly. Then the testimonies start. Sheriff Hectate describes Mela Ewell's injuries, specifically her black and right eye.
And Maella's testimony. It's just this heartbreaking mix of contradiction, emotion, fear.
Atticus's patient, pointed questions just meticulously peel back the layers. They reveal the Ewell family's squalid life and strongly imply her father, Bob Ewell, was the abuser.
Her rage when Atticus pushes for the truth, it underscores her trapped situation, caught between her lies and maybe this desperate desire for something better.
It's tragic. Then Tom Robinson testifies. Polite, compassionate.
Explains how Mayella initiated the encounter, and crucially, shows his left arm.
The arm caught in a cotton gin years ago, shorter than his right, and useless, making it physically impossible for him to have caused Mayella specific injuries, particularly the bruises on the right side of her face.
Irrefutable physical evidence, you'd think.
You'd think, and yet Mr. Gilmer's cross-examination is just brutal. Aggressive, laced with racial slurs.
Mocking Tom's simple compassion. You were mighty polite to do all that chopping and hauling for her, weren't you, boy?
It just exemplifies the systemic prejudice, not just in Macomb, but in the whole legal system back then. It renders truth irrelevant in the face of that ingrained bias.
Atticus's closing argument is just, powerful, a plea to reason, to justice.
He hammers home the lack of medical evidence, the Ewell's questionable credibility, exposes the evil assumption that all Negroes lie.
And he invokes that ideal. All men are created equal in the eyes of the court as the great levelers, reminding the jury of what they're supposed to uphold.
Yet, despite this passionate, logical argument, the jury returns guilty.
Delivered without any juror even looking at Tom Robinson. It's just devastating, not just for Tom, but for the very idea of justice.
You feel that blow most through Jem.
Oh, Jem. His despair, his anger. It's palpable. He just mutters, "It ain't right."
And then that moment in the balcony, Reverend Sykes telling Scout, "Jean-Louis, stand up, your father's passing."
Chills. It's this moment of quiet dignity, deep respect from the black community, acknowledging Atticus's courage, even though he lost.
The aftermath, though, it reveals Macomb's complex layers again. There's quiet support for Atticus, the food gifts from black families.
Right, a silent acknowledgement of his moral stand.
And Miss Maudie's explanation to Jem is so profound. Some men in this world who are born to do our unpleasant jobs for us. Your father's one of them.
She helps him process it, urges him to see the handful of people who do stand for justice, Judge Taylor, Hectate. It's about finding hope in the few who resist.
Yeah. But Dill's reaction is just gut-wrenching.
Wants to be a clown.
Yeah, but not to make people laugh. To stand in the middle of the ring and laugh at the folks who make the world so unfair. It's just such disillusionment.
Captures that raw grief of a child hitting an irrational, unjust world where the only response feels like this desperate, cynical humor.
Exactly, and the tragedy just compounds. The news of Tom Robinson's death.
Shot 17 times.
Yeah.
Trying to escape prison.
Atticus has to deliver that awful news to Helen Robinson, Tom's wife. Calpurnia and Miss Maudie go with him for support. And Alexandra's cry, "This is the last straw, Atticus." It just highlights the immense emotional toll on the whole family.
And Mr. Underwood's editorial.
Powerfully compares Tom's death to the senseless slaughter of songbirds, explicitly links Tom to that central sin to kill a mockingbird theme, cements him as the innocent victim.
And Bob Ewell's comment, chilling. One down and about two more to go. It's not just a threat, it's this terrifying echo of the town's prejudice, his vengeful nature boiling over.
But then there's a counterpoint, Mr. Link Diaz.
Right. Tom Robinson's former employer. He courageously protects Helen Robinson from Bob Ewell's harassment.
Walks her to work, threatens Ewell with the ladies' law. It's an important reminder that individual acts of decency, active courage, can persist even in that environment.
Shows not all white citizens were complicit. A different kind of bravery every day. Protective courage confronting evil directly.
Absolutely crucial. And all these simmering tensions, they finally just explode on Halloween night.
Right, Maycomb has this new pageant thing at the high school. Scout plays a ham. Hilariously.
The costume becomes important. As Jem and Scout walk home in the dark through the schoolyard, Scout's still awkwardly stuck in this bulky ham costume.
They hear sounds. Jem gets really apprehensive. That childhood wonder is now definitely tinged with real fear.
And then the attack. Bob Ewell, driven by pure revenge, ambushes them, breaks Jem's arm, tries to crush Scout inside her costume.
It's terrifying. But just as things look really bad, someone else intervenes. Fights off Ewell.
A mysterious third party, and here's where it all comes together. All the threads of the story finally intertwine.
Jem is carried home by the rescuer, who is finally revealed to be
Boo Radley.
Wow. Dr. Reynolds comes, tends to Jem's broken arm. Sheriff Hectate arrives. And then this tense, morally complex discussion starts between him and Atticus, Bob Ewell, who's dead.
Right. Ewell is found dead under the tree where the attack happened, and Atticus, being Atticus, immediately assumes Jem killed Ewell in self-defense.
Wants to proceed with total legal honesty, even if it means Jem faces consequences.
But Hectate has a different idea, a very different idea. He insists firmly Bob Ewell fell on his knife. He killed himself.
He creates a narrative.
He does,
Yeah.
and he subtly explains how. Says he took a switchblade off a drunk man earlier, implying that wasn't Ewell's knife found at the scene, but this kitchen knife was. He manufactures a plausible story where Ewell stumbled and fell on his own knife.
Why? Why does he do that?
His rationale is incredibly compassionate in its own way. Tom Robinson died for no reason, he says. Now the man responsible for it's dead. He argues for letting dead bury the dead.
Protect Boo Radley.
Exactly. Emphasizing the absolute need to protect Boo from the public spotlight, the trauma of an investigation, a trial. Dragging him into this, Tate says, exposing this shy, reclusive man who acted to save the children will not do. It challenges our whole idea of justice. Does strict legal truth always serve the greater moral good?
And Atticus. He resists it first. He goes against his core commitment to truth.
Deeply. But he ultimately understands. He accepts Tate's decision. He recognizes the deeper compassion, the deeper justice in protecting Boo. He realizes it aligns perfectly with his own principle. It's a sin to kill a mockingbird.
And Boo is the ultimate mockingbird here.
Absolutely. Quiet, benevolent, causing no harm, only offering quiet gifts and ultimately protection. Protecting him aligns with that core moral truth, even if it bends the legal one.
It encapsulates that core message. Sometimes true justice is outside the strict lines of the law, protecting the vulnerable from a society that would just misunderstand or exploit them. Ethical pragmatism versus rigid principle.
Beautifully put. And finally, Scout meets Boo Radley, face to face.
Calls him Mr. Arthur, sees him as shy, uncertain, but unmistakably warm.
And she walks him home, stands on his porch with them, reflects on the gifts he left in the knothole, 2 soap dolls, a broken watch and chain, a pair of good luck pennies, and our lives.
And it hits her. That heartbreaking realization they had given him nothing in return.
Nothing but fascination, fear, and intrusion, really, until this moment of connection. And then she sees her neighborhood, her familiar street, from his perspective on his porch.
Wow.
For him, it was this whole world of distant observation, quiet kindness. It's the ultimate moment of empathy, transcending all the fear, all the prejudice, completing Scout's journey from innocent curiosity to profound compassion.
So what does this all mean for us listening today? This deep dive, it's a snapshot of a time and place, sure. But it's questions about empathy, judgment, the quiet heroism of everyday people, these hidden acts of kindness. They still resonate so strongly.
They really do.
It makes you think. What subtle, maybe unnoticed acts of courage or kindness do you witness? in your own community, maybe even in your own life. Acts that might be akin to, well, a mockingbird just singing its heart out, quietly making the world a little better.